Hello everyone, my name is Chandra Prakash Bhavuna and today I want to discuss an interview in a company called AWL India Private Limited or AW India, and the company location is Gurgaon, and the interview date was the May 8, 2025. So they asked me facade in Laravel. So in Laravel, a facade is a design pattern that provides a static interface to classes that are available in the Laravel service container. In simple terms, facades let you call Laravel services or classes like static methods, while internally they resolve objects from the service container. For example, use illuminated support facade cache. So this is a facade call cache double colon put key value 600. So behind the scene, Laravel resolves the cache service from the container and calls the put method on that instances. Key points: facades are not truly static, they are PHP magic, that is double underscore call static to route static calls to service container. They help write cleaner and shorter code. All Laravel facades are defined in illuminated support facades. So common Laravel facades and services. DB database, cache caching, log logging, route routing, storage file system, auth authentication, view rendering, session handling. Summary: facades in Laravel let you write simple code like this: cache double colon put, log double colon info, DB double colon table. Instead of creating full objects or using dependency injection. The second question they asked me: service provider in Laravel. So in Laravel, service provider service providers are the central place where you bind classes, interfaces, and functionality to the Laravel service container. They are the core mechanism for bootstrapping your application and making it ready to use. So common use cases for service providers: binding classes or interfaces to the container. This is useful for dependency injection, configuration loading, registering configuration file into the application, event listener, registering events and their listeners, middleware, registering custom middlewares, routing, registering routes in the boot method, publishing assets, making assets like configuration files, views, etc. A service provider publishable. A service provider class has two main methods: register and boot. So register used to bind services into the Laravel service container. You typically register binding or configurations here. Boot used to perform tasks that are needed after all services have been registered. You typically use this method for tasks like registering routes, registering event listener, configuring settings, or running setup tasks. Summary of service providers: register binds services to the container. Boot executes tasks when the application boots. Used to manage dependency and configure services. Essential for extending Laravel's core functionality. Question number 3: service container versus service provider in Laravel. So service container, a tool to store and resolve classes objects. Service provider, a class that registers things into the container. Second, service container provides instances of classes when needed. Service provider tells Laravel what to register at startup. Service container dependency injection app class calls. Service provider registering bindings, event routes, configure, etc. Service container at runtime when your code needs a class. Service provider during app startup bootstrapping. Service container app make my class. Service provider my service provider double colon register method. Example flow: service provider binds something to the container. In a service provider, public function register This app bind my helper function. Return new my helper. Service containers gives it to you when needed. Dollar helper equal to app my helper. Laravel gives you the my helper object. Service provider register and set up the services. Service container deliver the service when asked. Question number 4. You have to write an SQL query to fetch last second highest salary. So query to find second highest salary. Select distinct salary from employees. Order by salary disk. Limit 1 offset 1. What if there are multiple same values in the second highest salary? So select star from employees from salary equal to subquery select distinct salary from employees. Order by salary disk. Limit 1 offset 1. Question number 5. Jira workflow. A Jira workflow is the step-by-step process that a task or issue follows from start to finish. It shows how work moves from different stages. Common workflow example: to do, work not started yet, in progress, work is being done, in review, someone is checking the work, done, work is completed. Each workflow has part and what does it mean. Status, current state of task, to do, in progress. Transition, action to move from one state to another, start, submit, approve. Conditions, validation. Optional rules, example, only a manager can approve. Why it is useful? Track progress clearly, assign responsibility, helps in managing projects better. Example in real life, imagine a software bug. To do, developer picks it, in progress, fixing the bug, in review, QA checks the fix, done, bug is fixed and approved. The next question they asked me, stored procedure. A stored procedure is a prepared SQL code that you can save so that code can be reused over and over again. So if you have a SQL query that you write over and over again, save it as a stored procedure and then just call it to execute it. Example, create a sample database. Okay. And let us suppose you have a table name company. So create a stored procedure, delimiter $, create procedure get all employees, begin select star from employees and $, and delimiters. Call the stored procedure, call get all employees. So you can call a stored procedure in MySQL using the call statement. So basic syntax: call procedure name, parameter 1, parameter 2. Question number 7. Joins in SQL. SQL joins are used to combine rows from two or more tables based on a related column between them. So inner join, return only the rows where there is a match in both tables. Select employee ID as employee ID, employees.name as employee name, departments.department name as department from employees. Inner join departments on employees.department _ ID equal to departments.id. Second, left join or left outer join returns all rows from the left table and matched rows from the right table. If there is no match, null values are returned for columns from the right table. So select employees.id as employee ID, employees.name as employee name, departments.department name as department from employees. Left join departments on employees.department _ ID equal to departments.id. Third, right join returns all rows from the right table and the matched rows from the left table. If there is no match, null values are returned for columns from the left table. So select employees.id, employees.name, departments.department name from employees. Right join departments on employees.departments _ ID equal to departments.id. Full outer join return all rows from the both tables. If there is no match, null values are returned for column from the table that doesn't have a match. So select employees.id as employee ID, employees.name as employee name, departments.department name as department, from employees left join departments on employees.department underscore id equal to departments.id. Unions, select employee id as employee id, employees.name as employee name, departments.department name as departments. From employees right join departments on employees.department underscore id equal to departments.id. Third, default join. If you simply use the keyword join without specifying a type, SQL assume it's an inner join. Default join inner join. Select orders.order id, customers.name from orders. Join customer on orders.customer id equal to customer.customer id. So result order id name 1 and Alice. Why would you use a full outer join? So the answer is, and full outer join is a method of combining tables so that the result includes unmatched rows from both tables. If you are joining two tables and want the result set to include unmatched rows from the both tables, use a full outer join clause. Question number 8, they asked me PHP 7 and PHP 8 differences. They asked what's new features in PHP 8. Speed, PHP 7 fast, PHP 8 even faster by using JIT engine. Named argument, PHP 7 no, PHP 8 yes. Match expression, PHP 7 no, PHP 8 yes. Null safe operator, PHP 7 no, PHP 8 yes. Attributes annotation, PHP 7 no, PHP 8 yes. Union types, PHP 7 string, PHP 8 no. Constructor promotion, PHP 7 no, PHP 8 yes. str contents, PHP 7 no, PHP 8 yes. JIT compiler, PHP 7 no, PHP 8 yes. Old functions, PHP 7 still available, PHP 8 some removed or changed. So JIT stands for just in time compiler. Instead of running PHP code line by line like usual, JIT compiles parts of the code into machine level instructions just before they are needed, making it run faster, especially for complex or repeated tasks. Here is a cleaner view showing the timing comparison between PHP 7 and PHP 8 with JIT using the same each prime example. Test code, same in both versions. So let us suppose you have created a function each prime $num. If $num is less than equal to 1, return false. For $i equal to 2, $i less than equal to sqrtm $num, $i plus plus. If $sum ampersand $i triple equal to 0, return false and return true outside the bracket. So $start equal to micro time true, $count equal to 0. For $i equal to 1, $i less than equal to 1 lakh, $i plus plus. If each prime $i, so count plus plus. $end equal to micro time true, echo total prime numbers $count, echo time taken $end minus $start dot seconds. So sample timings results. PHP 7.4, it will take approximately 1.8 seconds. PHP 8 no JIT, approximately 1.7 seconds. PHP 8 with JIT 1.1 seconds. Conclusion, JIT can improve performance especially for CPU heavy loops or calculation. Not a big boost for typical website tasks like rendering HTML, but great for the data processing. Steps to enable JIT. Find your php.ini file. opcache.enable equal to 1, opcache.enable CLI equal to 1, opcache.jit buffer size equal to 100 M, opcache JIT equal to 1255. New feature in PHP 8. Top new feature in PHP 8. Feature JIT just in compiler. Union types, named argument, match expression, null safe operators, attributes, constructor property promotion, new string functions, static return type, weak maps, improve error handling. Question number 9. Protected method and how do we call it in another class? So a protected method in PHP can only be accessed inside the same class for or from a child inherited class. Example, class A, protected function greet, return hello from A. You cannot call greet from outside the class like $object equal to new A, echo object greet. So it will show the error. How to use it in another class? You can extend inherit the class and then call the method. So example using inheritance, class A, protected function greet, return hello from A. Then you can create a class B extends A, and then you can use public function show greeting and return $this greet. So it will allowed here. So now $object equal to new object, new B, and echo object show greeting. So the output will be the hello from A. Okay, so summary is access modifier and where it is accessible, public, accessible everywhere, protected, same class plus child classes, private, only in the same class. Okay, so let's see how a call a protected method without inheritance using PHP reflection for advanced use cases like testing or debugging. Example, class A, protected function greet, return hello from A. So $object equal to new A. Reflection setup, $reflection equal to new reflection class in the bracket A double colon class. $method equal to $reflection get method greet. $method set accessible true, make it accessible. Echo $method invoke object, so output hello from A. Important notes, this breaks encapsulation, so use it only when necessary. Example, in unit testing, it's not recommended in normal app logic. When should you use it? For testing protected private method, for debugging or meta programming, when you can't modify the original class. Question 10. Have you ever used interface in projects? Answer. Why do we need interfaces? Define a clear contract. Interfaces specify that methods a class must implement, ensuring consistent behavior across different implementations. Enable loose coupling. Code depends on abstraction, that is interfaces, rather than concrete classes, making the system more flexible and easier to maintain or extend. Support multiple implementation. Different classes can implement the same interface in their own way, allowing easy swapping without changing client code. Improve testability. Interfaces make it easier to create mock object during unit testing, facilitating better test coverage and isolation tests. Enhance code organization and readability. The clarify design intention and help teams follow consistent coding standards. So, example to explain why interfaces are useful. Imagine you have a notification system. Instead of writing your code directly for email notification, you define in interface. Interface notifier, public function send $message. Then create multiple classes implementing it. Class email notifier implement notifier, public function send $message and send email. Another class SMS notifier implement notifier, public function send $message and send SMS. So your main code depends on the notifier interface but not on the specific classes. Function notify user, notifier $notifier, comma $message, $notifier send message. This way you can swap email with SMS or add new notifier easily. without changing the notified user. So why is this important? Makes code flexible and extendable, easy to maintain the test, and promotes clean architecture and solid principles. So this was the interview in a company called AWL India Private Limited or AWL India. The company location is Gurgaon and the interview date was May 8, 2025. So I will share more interview question with you. Till then, bye.